Hi. This video is a little different. Give me the microphone right here. But you know, I catch a lot of flack for the fire yoga, as I call it, you know, like for vaporizing the stuff off of my skin, and it really is noticeable immediately that it helps and it's beneficial. It's hard to, can't get very many people to try it themselves to verify that for me, though. So I kind of feel like, I'm the only one who knows about this, and so that could tend to make people maybe feel like they might, like, oh, I'm losing my mind. Maybe I'm just crazy because nobody else has heard of this. Nobody else would even think of trying it. Nobody else seems to barely believe the things that I can report about it. Nevertheless, I found over time, over the last few years, or several years, at different times, references to using fire for cleansing. I mean, obviously, there's the historical fire cleansing, melting or smelting metals or whatever. But, and fire, kills bacteria and germs and whatever, so it cleanses in that regard. But for cleansing your temple, the temples seems to be where they seem like hydras, but that's a more in-depth conversation. All I know is that this stuff works when I didn't just think, I'm going to, roast myself over a candle and that's going to solve my issues. It didn't happen like that. It took a few years for me to even come around to realizing just that helped a lot. And then finally, well, the thing that made me initially realize that there was something to this, but it was still a year and a half before I really started to consider it seriously. Like using the fire, which I'm practically immune to now. It's like I'm fireproof sometimes. I just, there's something that, I can feel it in my ear too, but it just doesn't seem to burn me. It feels like it's itching. It's like I have an itch and it's scratching it. That's what it feels like. And the smell is like roasted mushrooms, but that's another story. Roasted mushrooms, literally, sometimes mushrooms. And I do believe it's a fungus. So where was I? Oh, I found over different times. Once I was watching Globe Trekker, I think it was, and they were in a village in Africa, and there was a yearly ritual festival thing going on where they would cleanse themselves of evil spirits that had attached to them over the last year. And as it's nighttime and there are celebrations going on and ramping up, and they have a couple big bonfires going, and they're close to each other, and like with the fires overlapping the area in between, but there's nothing on the ground there, and they're pretty good sized fires. And since it's Africa and it's hot, so they're wearing like, loincloths or nothing. And they're, dancing and, jumping around and jumping through the fire. Like big, flames. And some of them are like putting fire on themselves and like, smaller dabbing and stuff, and just jumping through the fire to cleanse themselves of evil spirits. Because in the words of System of a Down, don't you realize evil lives in a motherfucking skin? And I think there's a big secret truth drop in that song somehow. Because Morgellons lives in a motherfucking skin. At least the things that you notice the most from Morgellons and that affect you the most. Swelling and irritation and texture and color changes and sensitivity changes that just get from one extreme to the other. Yeah, I'm not going to go into all the Morgellon symptoms I have, but I found that fire tones them down immediately, and they come back again. And I've had like many times where I literally had to like just roast with the torch like for hours before it would stop feeling as if this swelling was just continuously rising from under my skin. And I know it was because I could look in the mirror and see the swelling there, and I hit it with some heat, and so you know, with heat or with, where'd it go? It's not gonna be handy for me. Oh yeah, with heat or with heat, either one, but don't use these two at the same time because this is flammable and then will cause more heat than you would like, I'm sure. Not that you should do that. In fact, nobody should do what I do, apparently, because I'm crazy and you shouldn't do what crazy people do. That's just crazy. You'd be crazy if you did what crazy people do. Crazy is, crazy does, right? Thank you, Forrest Gump. Okay, moving right along. So, there's the African tribe, the evil spirits. Evil lives in a motherfucking skin, jumping through the fire. And then, as you know, a couple years later, I'm looking for some other references to it just online, and I came across a short video clip of a Jewish rabbinical tradition of burning their beards. You know, like, and they had big beards though, and they were like just burning the motherfuckers, you know, down to the nubs. Some of them didn't burn it all the way down; their beard didn't stay going or whatever. But it wasn't long enough, and there wasn't a lot of explanation about it. It just showed that video clip of these nighttime, you know, festival type of thing, fire, and a bunch of Jewish-looking, you know, Hasidic-looking Jews burning their beards. And that it was to do with cleansing, you know, as a symbol of purification for God. So there is some historical precedence for this crazy thing I stumbled onto, you know, by having Morgellons and being almost dead. And deciding that, well, I don't believe a single thing that comes from our medical establishment. I'm not cursing. And I knew better than to trust them. You know, they're a fraud, and they're a death care system. You know, their whole philosophy seems to be about killing things. Antibiotics, they're anti-life. You know, I could go on stories about that, but that's not the point either. So, there was the two things. There was the tribe in Africa. There was the Jewish tradition of burning the beards. There's what I've discovered, which is burning the everywhere. And so I was watching a sad guru who has turned false prophet, but he has a lot of good information, but he's a globe pusher as well as an overpopulated planet in an infinite space, spinning ball pusher, you know, and the overpopulation. Those are the two things I've really heard him talk about. So, which I was like, all right, whatever, said Guru. But he mentioned something about different baths for cleaning your aura. There's a wind bath and a regular water bath, but it does more than just cleans your skin. Yeah, you can have a mud bath, which I'm big on the mud baths too, as that's saved my life, along with the fire. And he said a fire bath, and I'm like, wait, but yeah, he did. You know, I'd watched this video before, but I'd forgot about the fire bath thing. So, but he didn't elaborate upon it. So that was earlier. So tonight I thought, well, I'm going to just Google search, you know, India fire bath, because that's what it was referred to as, and you know, didn't give the actual Indian name. And I got this. Okay, now on to the video, right? The Bhasma, the bath of fire, from the modern Vedic. I found some other things on here, some different Rajnishashis that were, you know, doing this ritual thing, but they didn't go in the fire. They were just sitting there between three fires until the fires were gone. The fires are made of cow dung chips, traditionally. That's part of it, because the cow is sacred, and of course. Okay, so let's go through this. I just thought it was worth a video because this just kind of blew my mind. This is the third thing on the burning that you know, supports my claim that it's doing something. And I believe that there's an issue that all people have, because I don't have some special physiology or some rare disorder that nobody around me catches, but just I got. No, I see the same symptoms of my issues. I see them on other people all the time. I can spot them. I can point them out. They don't look very happy either. But if you were to talk to them, they've probably been to their doctor and they probably are on something for it, or or they're just suffering through. Either way, it's not unique to me. So, where was I? Okay, anyway. Bhasma, the bath of fire. The application of bhasma, or ashes, forms an integral part of tattva suddhi sadhana, as it is a symbol of physical purification as well as subtle and causal realms. Mahayogi Shiva, who is considered to be the father of Tantra, is depicted naked, and his whole body is besmeared with Bhasma. Thus, it is considered to be an auspicious act of discovering your Shiva nature. Let's see. Bhasma literally means disintegration. Any matter which is disintegrated or broken up through the process of fire or water, etc., is considered to be reduced to its bhasmic form. When this process is completed, the residual substance is known as bhasma, which can be considered to be infinitely more refined and purer than the original matter. Thus, through a process of disintegration, the essence of any matter is discovered in its purest form. Any matter which is disintegrated or broken up through the process of fire or water, etc., is considered to be reduced to its bhasmic form. This process of disintegration is significant, for it represents the disintegration of objective awareness as it occurs in tattva suddhi. Just as we reduce matter to its bhasmic form externally, in the same way, we utilize the fire of this tantric practice to discover the essence which is responsible for our body and mind with all its subtle manifestations. The result of this disintegration is in the form of an inner experience. I think I need to switch glasses here. How's that for not being prepared? There we go. Okay. Whew. Matter has to be disintegrated in several stages to discover its essential nature, and each stage reveals a residue which is subtler and finer. Similarly, there are many stages through which we have to traverse in order to fully disintegrate ourselves to experience our true essence. A Catholic Guide to Ashes. That looks just creepy. The crosses on their foreheads and ash. That looks evil to me. These stages, which are known as Pratyahara, Dharana, and Dhyana, induce an experience that gradually grows subtler and subtler, culminating into the fragrance of Samadhi, the ultimate essence. Okay, this guy's got a pretty good fire going there. The fire kind of looks like a face. Is there somebody in that fire? Okay. Like there's an eye looking over there to the side, and he's got a pipe in his mouth or something. Okay, anyway. It is the grossness of matter that obscures the subtle essence inherent in it. As such, disintegration is a vital factor in all processes that deal with purification, whether external or internal. Sorry. Purification means the elimination of all the dross and impurities already present within the self. Just ate. And offers no improvement or addition within the self. Therefore, the application of Bhasma is symbolic because it represents the culmination of a process through which your inner awareness travels in its journey from matter to pure consciousness. Bhasma also symbolizes the transience of life, as it is said in the Bible, from dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Bhasma is widely used in India as a medicinal treatment in the system of Ayurveda, one of the oldest and most profound medical systems, for the rejuvenation of life. the rejuvenation. Oh, it doesn't like the left hand. Don't know why. I feel an airplane coming. Sorry. Let's see here. However, in the practice of tattva, sahudi bhasma is prepared from cow dung. The Sanskrit word for cow dung is gobar, which literally means gift from the cow. During your travels in India, you may often have noticed the village women making round cakes out of gobar, cow dung, and leaving them to dry outside. It is these cakes that go into the making of Bhasma. Gold, suvarna, is used in many Ayurvedic medicines in a processed Bhasma form. Is cow dung good or bad? All that dung. Yummy. The use of gobar is twofold in India. Its inherent properties are a boon for overcoming many ailments. Admittedly, the feces of most animals, and even human beings for that matter, are a source of disease and bacterial infection. However, on scientific analysis, it has been found that the feces of a cow are not only free from virus and infection, but also contain useful hormones that have germicidal properties. In many South American countries, a mixture of cow dung has been used to fight foot and mouth disease, which is caused by a certain virus, and this mixture has proved effective in fighting the epidemic. Look at that cow. He's like, if this cow dung system does not convince you of its hygienic and mystical properties, then you may completely do away with the practice. However, it is necessary to mention that many appliances which you use with pride and utmost faith in your daily life are unhygienic and culturally dangerous, but you never question them on scientific grounds. Even medicines are no exception. They are often made from many unhygienic elements. Gobar cannot be compared with these so-called medical and beauty items. The applications of Bhasma are not limited to the physical dimensions of our existence. Rather, its effects are more tangible in the subtle and causal realms of our consciousness. Applying holy ash. Why do we apply vibhuti on our forehead? In yogic parlance, the word go is symbolic of our senses. Thus, Gopal, a name for Lord Krishna, means protector of the senses. Another name of Krishna, Govinda, literally means Lord of the senses. Similarly, Gochar, which is symbolically used as the field word, cows graze, literally means the field of senses, where the objective experiences are taking place. From this diverse symbolism arose the word go, or gomata, for the cow. Gomata means creator of the senses. Thus, the cow is revered in India, and what we commonly refer to as cow dung is known as gobar or gomaya, the literal translation of which is gift from the cow. This is the reason why gobar and no other substance is used in the practice of tattva sahudi. See, we have cows like this too, but our cows that are written on, they have like little lines where they cut them here, you know, shoulder roast, rump roast, bacon. Oh, wait, that's a pig. Okay, through the disintegration of gobar by Agni, or fire, we reduce it to its balsamic form, which is symbolic of the annihilation or disintegration of the senses. This is precisely what we are trying to do in tattva sahudi. Through pratyahara, we break up the experiences of the objective world or senses. Through dharana, we concentrate the residual experience, giving it a subtler form. And through dhyana, we further. This is precisely what we are trying to do in tattva sahudi. Through pratyahara, we break up our experiences of the objective world or senses. Through dharana, we concentrate on the residual experience, giving it a subtler form. Through dhyana, we further explode the subtle, I think it means explore, subtle experiences into their original cosmic essence or Shiva consciousness. I hope we don't explode. Thus, the process of transformation of gobar to bhasma, and use of residual essence is similar to the process which we are trying to create through Tattva Sodhi, thus emphasizing the importance of both exoteric and esoteric practices. I thought that was the Joker for a minute. That's the Joker's grandpa. Bhasma is applied to the forehead with mantras in a specified manner. There are different mantras for householders and sannyasins. The use of ash is the final stage in the practice and the personal experience of all those who have used it. It leaves the aspirant with a deep feeling of being cleansed. Yeah, so does my fire yoga. On the spiritual level as well, Bhasma is used to attract the higher forces of nature. In India, we may see many sadhus and yogis with their bodies besmeared with Bhasma, mainly for this purpose. In the Shiva Purana, as well as the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, it is stated that those who seek moksha or liberation should use Bhasma and wear the Rudraksha Mala. Oh, hey. Speaking of Rudraksha. 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 Sounds like a hip-hop word. Rudraksha. Not stoppa. Wearing kappa. Okay, anyway. Rudraksha. Those little funky beads. I got those off of eBay. They took a long time to get here, but I get the feeling they came from an actual Indian person in India who probably picked them off a tree themselves. Rudraksha. However, the ultimate effect of applying Bhasma cannot be fully conveyed through words. This practice has to be experienced personally. Words are limited and have evolved through a process of logic, whereas experience sometimes defies even logic. Yes, it does. Experience does. Mine does. Okay, Bhasma has been... I'm glad he's wearing those flowers right there. Bhasma has been tried and tested by many yogis and rishis, and its benefits have been verified by all. That is why this practice still continues till today. Yoga has proved to be a thoroughly scientific system of the body and mind, and it is impossible that they would accept or advocate the practice of applying Bhasma if it did not induce the required effects in the person who uses it. Not to mention they've been messing around with things for a long time over there. Long time. They love it long time. Okay. Preparation of Bhasma. As the application of Bhasma is considered a vital part of Tattva Sodhi, the method of preparation is detailed below. Bhasma should be prepared a few days prior to the practice and stored in a closed jar ready for use. Stage 1. Take some cow dung and prepare several flat round cakes. That sounds like breakfast already. 2. Dry them thoroughly outside in the sun. After they are completely dry, burn them in a large vessel by igniting a few of the cakes. The fire will automatically spread to the other cakes. Do not light them all at once, as the flame should be slow and moderate. This should be done outdoors, as a lot of fumes will emanate. When they are completely burnt, allow them to cool. Then collect the ash and strain it through a thin muslin cloth. The residue will be a fine gray-black powder or ash. This is the end of stage 1, and the Bhasma is ready to use. However, for those who wish to have a more purified and aromatic residue, one more stage can be included. Stage 2. Look at their copper vessels, of course. Take the residue from stage 1 and add some cow's milk and ghee, clarified butter. Okay. Make a smooth paste, taking care that it should not become too watery, and then roll the paste into several medium-sized balls. Leave these to dry for a few days, and when they are completely dry, burn them as in stage 1. Strain the residue through the thin muslin cloth. The residue this time will be finer and lighter in color. Stage 2 can be repeated 11 times with an addition of milk and ghee each time. With each successive burning, the residue will become finer and more white, and the aroma will be as good as any expensive French perfume. After the final stage, store the Bhasma in a closed jar so that the aroma does not escape. The significance of burning the Gobar 11 times is that the numerical equivalent of the Shiva consciousness is 11, as is Janos, as what the Flock TV says. Janos. Okay, so Shiva is 2. The equivalent of Shiva consciousness is 11. And therefore, after burning the Gobar 11 times, the residue is as subtle and fragrant as the experience of pure consciousness. Navarata Kalp, calcined ash of expensive gems, minerals like ruby, sapphire, emerald, cat's eye. These are just a list of different Vedic medicinal treatments. Hirak Bhasma, useful in cancers, immunity disorders, crippling rheumatoid arthritis, bone marrow depression. Oh, I got all of those. Diamond, gold, silver, iron. Severe respiratory tract, depression, ovarian cysts. Swamabasati, gold, piper, nigrum, white pear powder. Tonsillitis, fevers, cough, bronchitis, decreased immunity, cancers, autoimmune disorders. Hyperacidity, headache, fever, or blood pressure. Would that be ochre? There is a long list of bhasmas to be made from many different things. Swarmakishik Bhasma, copper pyrite, calcined mercury sulfur. Yummy. I wish I had some of that. Anemia, jaundice, stomatitis, and chronic fever. I'm gonna have to save image as. Save. Alright. And whoop, that's the end. Okay. That's quite a list of different bhasmas to be made and what they are said to be used for. Yoga Jindal Rasa, red sulfide of mercury, gold, red mercury, magnetic iron, mica, 62.5 to 125 milligrams twice daily, polio. So yeah, well, these guys are, it's fire, but they're not actually in the fire. I'm trying to find in the fire, purify the temples. Maybe I'm just going to have to start my own yogic train of thought or line of thinking. My own yoga would be yoga, Ramale yoga. Ramale is an acronym of my my first, middle, and last name. I was remembered one time, they'd say, get your porn star name, like take the street that you lived on when you were a kid and your middle name and your first pet or something, and you combine them together and you get your porn star name, right? Well, I was thinking there's got to be something better than that. And I thought, get your ancient, your prehistoric, get your ancient god name, because gods usually have one name, not a first and a last name, right? And so I thought, let's take the first vowel and consonant sound of each of your, surnames or your official name, and combine them together, and you end up with this, three. What am I trying to think of here? 3 consonants? No, 3 syllables. Word usually, and it can work with anybody's name pretty much. Like mine would be Ronald Martin Layton, so it's Ramale. Although it could be La because L-A is actually, but it's pronounced with the Y sound, so I get Ramale. And you can do that with anybody's name and get your ancient god name. My name is Ramale, and I bid you good night. And good morning, or wherever you are. Take care.